Now, we were going to start the show. It was a week ago that it was announced the government would be consulting New Zealanders on a package of proposals for simple and effective regulation of shooting clubs and ranges. Associate Minister of Justice Nicole McKee also declared over the weekend they will be delivering on a commitment made in the National Act Coalition Agreement by commencing a review of the Firearms registry. And the Minister, Nicole McKee, joins me now. Afternoon, Nicole.
Good afternoon, Leah.
Did you have a good long weekend first?
I've worked all long weekend.
Did you?
As you do.
Yeah.
We were in the house till midnight on Saturday, and then I've just spent Sunday and Monday catching up, really, on a whole lot of reading. As you know, budget week actually pulls you away from your main work mostly, so catch-up time.
Well, look, you're refreshed and ready to go, Nicole, because you were going to be busy. Can we first look at the first announcement last week? We wanted to have a chat. You were very busy, tried to do your best, understood. This is on the consultation regarding the regulation of shooting clubs and ranges. Why are you looking into them? What is their issue?
It's really important, I think, that we have a look at what was the introduction of Part 6 to the Arms Act, which put a whole lot of regulations on pistol clubs and non-pistol clubs, regulations that frightfully has some concern that the clubs will close. And if clubs begin to close, then the ranges that they're associated with also close. And of course, the fear that we have is that once you have clubs and ranges closing, the eyes and ears of the licensed firearms community disappear. The ability to be educated on the safe use and control of firearms disappear. And the ability to have a safe place to go to sight and rifles and get knowledge also disappears. So we think that would be worse for public safety if we lose those clubs and then the ranges. So I've gone out for consultation as to what it would look like if we got rid of some of the red tape around these clubs being able to operate, because really we want them to stay open, and we've heard of a few that have shut down because of the regime and the pressure that it puts on the volunteers.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. Can you tell me how many have shut down?
Well, the police will tell you that they've had none shut down, but that's none that have been signed up with the police. There's been quite a number that shut down before that sign-up, which was quite concerning. And I heard about this when we were campaigning. So there were 3 clubs that I was told of that were closing their doors before they even registered with police. And there's a few others that have told me, yeah, we've registered, but we've got some serious safety concerns in regard to information that's going to be made publicly available. And because of that, we've got no one wanting to put their hand up to be the committee members, because some of those committee members will have their names and addresses out there publicly available, and they don't want to do that. So we've got to balance this whole idea that, yep, we know what's going on with clubs and ranges and who's joined up, but 2, we don't want people having all their private information publicly available and then them being worried about their security because of it.
So, Nicole, you mentioned this, you were working on repealing or replacing Part 6 of the Arms Act. So 6 months in, why are you going into consultation and just not repeal or replace it immediately?
That's a really good question, and thanks for asking it, because within the coalition agreement, we agreed to the immediate repeal and then replacement of Part 6. And I thought that's exactly what we'll do. I'll get in there and I'll get rid of this and then we'll work on something new. But the reality is that Pistol New Zealand used to have a letter of agreement with New Zealand Police, and that no longer exists. All of their requirements are now incorporated into Part 6. And there are requirements that contribute to public safety, like making sure you've got security and safes installed if you're going to store firearms overnight at a club. Now, we have to have that remain. So what I thought I'd do is actually go through with the ideas of what should go and what should stay, and go out for full consultation with these specific groups, which incorporate a huge range of society, as to what they think, but also have they got any ideas about what they think is overburdensome or what should be regulated. And then we can go from there, having a really big discussion as with these key groups as to what would work and what wouldn't work, instead of me just going in there with a bulldozer and potentially making things worse. Yeah.
What's the time frame on that one, Nicole?
Well, we hope to have the first set of consultation is underway now. The second set of consultation will be underway over the next 6 months, and this is also with regard to the Firearms registry, a second set of consultation as to the user groups and how they operate. And I hope to have feedback by the end of this year so I can then make some policy decisions and then take it to Cabinet and see if they agree with me.
Okay. So actually we're going to move on to that, Nicole, the firearms part of the firearms agreement that you want to look into is reviewing, well, we can say the contentious, controversial firearms registry. Just to remind us, Nicole, what is the registry?
So the Firearms registry is a registration of all firearms that are in New Zealand. We did have a registry before 2019 and 2020, and that registry looked after the pistols, what was the E category, military-style semi-automatics and collector items. There was a registry there for them, but we didn't have a registry for your standard sporting firearms. That's now been introduced, and we have what they call an activating circumstance. So if over 5 years from June last year you buy and sell a firearm, or you change address, you must, or renew your licence, you must register all of your firearms and major parts on this registry. Now, the ACT Party have, through the campaign, said, look, we're against the full registration of firearms. It's not worked anywhere in the world. It's very, very costly, and people are concerned about their security. Whereas some of my coalition partners said, well, actually, we think this is a good thing and it needs to stay. So the middle ground that we had was, well, let's review it. Is it doing what it said it was going to do? Do people have legitimate concerns? And if so, how do we address that? Is it fit for purpose? Is the cost-benefit analysis there? And what has happened around the world that can help us understand whether or not this registry is going to work? And I guess going back to thoughts from 1997, where a review was done, and Justice Thorpe then said, hey, I'm a big fan of the registry, but if you don't get 90% compliance, it's not going to work. Now, I don't see us getting 90% compliance, so why are we doing it? It's not even an ambulance at the bottom of the hill, and half the firearms that are seized don't have serial numbers on them. So are we throwing bad money or good money after a bad cause, or are we actually going to get some benefits from this? And that's what a review is going to tell us.
Well, that's interesting, Nicole, because you said that, you don't even think you'll get 90% compliance. So do you know how many licence holders thus far have registered their firearms? Because when did it come in? June last year, wasn't it?
June last year, so it's been operating for a year. We have 17% of firearm owners have registered their firearms. So far, I think the majority of them have been made to by having activating circumstances, and I believe there's over 100,000 firearms that have now been registered.
Okay. So is there a time frame? There is a time frame, isn't there, that they have to get this all done if you don't change the rules?
That's right. If a licensed firearm owner has not triggered an activating circumstance within the first 5 years of the registry, then they have until August 2028 in which to register all of their firearms. I'm hoping that we get something sorted by then that either removes red tape or gets rid of it, or if it stays,